I'm going to do this question. Question number 4. Just give me a second. Okay. Why I have chosen this question? I have chosen this question because, first of all, this question gives us an overview of our string chapter. Whatever the functions are there in string, like what are the important functions are there in string, this gives us an overview. And this creates an base for file handling. Once we understand the string concepts properly, we can go to file handling. So one of the important concepts that we regularly use in file handling is this split function. That we also use this partition function, and we also use this title function sometimes. So we have to be very clear of whatever we are going to do with strings. So there are first three functions I want to discuss. First is capitalize, then we have upper, then we have title. These three functions are very similar to each other, but there is a subtle difference between them. We have to understand what is the difference between them. Then we are going to look into these two functions, split and partition function. Again, they do, or they somehow do the same thing, just that there is a slight bit of difference between them. We have to understand what's the difference between them, and there is some miscellaneous problems as well. So we will start with first three instructions, that is capitalize, then upper, then title. So I'm just going to uncomment this part. What does this capitalize function do? The main task of capitalize function is to capitalize this string. Now, what do we understand by capitalizing a string? So we have this string Vivekananda Math with a space in between. I can see that few of the letters are capital letter, few of the letters are small letter. Capitalize function capitalizes the first letter of the string, whatever it is, and it converts the rest of the characters into smaller case characters. So by that logic, if I execute this program, then the first V is going to come capital, and rest of whatever the characters are there, they are going to be converted into small letters, whatever their case may be. They may be capital letter, they may be small letter. Irrespective of their case, they are going to be converted into small letters. So the final output of line number 1 will be V will be capital, and rest of the strings will be small, like Vive Kananda space Mut, MATH, all small. Just that we can see here, the first character changes to capital and the rest of the characters are small. That is our line number 1. What does this upper function do? Upper function converts the whole string, whatever that might be, into uppercase. Like if Vivekananda Math is our input, it is going to convert the whole string into capital letter. So what we are going to get? We are going to get V, I, V, E, K, A, N, D, A, space, M, A, T, H. All the characters are converted into uppercase. Now, we go to the title function. Most of the students get little bit of confused between this capitalize and title. Title function capitalizes the first letter of every word, not string, first letter of every word into capital letter, and rest of the characters are converted into small letters. So what we are going to have? There are two words. We have Vivekananda and Mott. So the first letter of first word, that is Vivekananda, is going to convert it into capital letter, that is capital V, then small I, small v, small e, then Kanda, Vivekananda, then space, then again the start of new word. So M is going to convert it into capital letter, then A, then T, then H. This is going to be our final output. So we can just revise it once. Capitalize function converts the first letter, first letter of a string to capital list, and rest of the cases or rest of the characters are converted into lowercase. Upper converts the whole string into uppercase, and title function converts the first letter of every word into capital letters, into caps, and rest of them are converted into small. So Divya, any doubts up till now?
No.
Take. So you're understanding whatever questions that we are trying to do here. So we can continue here. So we can just run this particular code and see if it is correct or not. So we have done this. So by our logic, dot upper function converts all the characters into uppercase. Similarly, the lower function is going to convert all the characters of a string into lowercase. So I haven't written it separately, so it is just pure common sense. So I'm going to save this part of the question and then run this code. I can see here that as I have assumed or as I have explained to you, the capitalize function converts all the characters into smaller case except the first letter, uppercase all the characters into capital case, and line 3 is same like title function capitalizes the first word of the first letter of every word into capital case. So this was our first three functions. So I can just comment this out, and then we can go to the other two functions, that is split and partition. Line number 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay. One thing that helps me to remember, the difference between these functions is that when we talk about partition, generally we talk about dividing a particular thing into two parts. And when we talk about split function, we talk about dividing a particular thing into multiple parts. Okay, this is my like common sense. When we talk about partition, partition means dividing a thing into two parts, like one part. And when we talk about split function, like split this cake among yourself or split the money among ourselves, so what we are trying to do, we are trying to split the money into different parts. Okay, so in Python they perform the same thing. What does this split function tries to do? Split function takes a string and then divide the string into different parts. Okay, and when we divide a string into different part, there have to be a splitting criteria. Let us discuss the splitting criteria first. So I will comment line number 6 and 7, and we can discuss about line 4 and 5. There are two variations of our split function. In the first variation, there is no argument. And in the second variation, I have given a star as an argument. So let us just write the string once. What we have? We have south star T H, then Point, south point. And we are trying to split this string. It is very important to understand the difference because we are going to use this function when we are going to solve some questions from text file. When we give no arguments in the split function, the split function tries to divide the string on the basis of spaces. So how many spaces that we have here? We have one space, like this one space. And if there is one space, then this word is going to be divided into two parts. The first part will be south, and the second part will be point. And these two parts will become two elements of a list like this. First element will be south, and the second element will be point. Fine. It is going to return us a list. I can write here another string. I can just copy this stuff. And instead of having one space, I can give here two space, like South Point School. So if we have three spaces up here, what we have is SOU star TH, then space, then point, then school. These are our, this is our string. So let's see how many spaces are there. Rudrijit, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So how many spaces are there in South Point School or in this particular string? How many spaces are there?
Two.
Two spaces. So this is one split and this is one split. So if I split a string in two parts, then how many individual parts are going to form?
Three.
First
Three.
part, three. Very good, Divya. So we have this south, and then we have point, and then we have school. And these three parts are going to be individual strings or individual element of a singular list, that we have south, then we have point, then we have school. So this is a list. Okay. So this happens when I don't mention any argument in the split function. Okay. Now, Divya, I hope that you have understood till now. Just tell me,
Yes, sir.
just use your common sense and tell me, if I put an argument here, then what will be the basis of splitting? What will be
Sir,
the
it,
basis?
sir,
Yes,
first it will
go on.
SOU.
Mhm. What will be the
But
splitting criteria here then?
it is based on that sign.
Okay, that is
The
an
basis of
asterisk
that
signs.
sign. Yes, sir.
Okay, that is going to be an asterisk sign. So
Yes.
there are two asterisk signs. So how many splits will be performed?
1, 2, 3, 4,
I mean, no, there are only two splits.
2.
First split and
Okay.
second split. So how many individual elements are going to form? So our first element will be SOU, that is SOU. Then what will be our second element?
TH.
No, T, H, space and P.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, this time
Mm,
our splitting criteria is star, not space. You have to be
okay.
careful at that point. And what will be our last element? Last
I
element,
I
I,
and
T.
and T.
These three strings, these three strings is going to form a list like SOU, then TH space P, and then INT. Okay. I am going to use this concept shortly. Anyways, and you can notice another thing is that in the list, this asterisk symbol is not included. Okay. So what will be the output of line 5? Output of line 5 is going to be south, th space p, and int. Then what will be the output of line 4? And output of line 4 will be SOU star TH, then comma POINT point, and then SCOLE school. Second, and what will be the first output? That is south is going to be one element and point is going to be one element. So I have saved this code, and let us run this code and see whatever that we have studied or whatever we have assumed is correct or not. So if I run this code, I can exactly see this. So we can see here in the first part of our output, the splitting criteria, the term I use, this is not a literal term. I like to use this term called splitting criteria. So the splitting criteria is space and the word is divided by space, like two parts. In line number 4, the string is divided into three parts on the basis of space. And in line 5, the string is divided into three parts, basis of asterisk symbol. So we are done with this. Now we come to partition function. It's interesting. So what does a partition function do? First of all, you can see here this partition function cannot work without an argument. Like we can run or we can work with a split function without an argument, but a partition function cannot be executed without an argument. Whenever we work with partition function, I have to provide an argument. Okay. So I guess you can use some of your common sense and just tell me and just make a legitimate guess up here. So Rudro, what will be the partition criteria for line number 6? Hello?
Asterisk.
Asterisk. And Divya, what will be the partition criteria for line number 7?
Spaces.
Okay.
Space.
Okay, spaces. And we can see up here is that there are two asterisks. So I can just remove one asterisk to make this thing simple. And I can put an asterisk here. First, I want to discuss a simple case. Then I'm going to go to more complicated cases. Okay, let's see. What we have learned is that a partition function tries to partition a string into two parts. So what do we have? Okay. I'm just going to write a simple variation of this function first. Then I'm going to go to a harder variation. I'm going to provide only one star. Okay. Let us write here. What we have is SOU star TH space POINT. This is South Point. We are partitioning a string on the basis of asterisks. So what is the point in which the asterisk is occurring is this. The string is divided into two parts. What are the two parts? SOU is one part and TH1 is another part. What does this partition function do is that it also includes the partitioning criteria in the collection as well. So let us see what do we understand by this. So SOU is going to be part number 1. This asterisk symbol is going to be part number 2, and this TH space POINT is going to be part number 3. So what are the three parts? The three parts are SOU, then star, the second element, and the third part or the third element is going to be TH space POINT. It is going to give us three parts, and this three part will come in a form of a tuple. In split, the result is in the form of a list. In partition, the result is in form of a tuple. So what we are going to have? We are going to have SOU first part, comma, then star second part, and TH space POINT. This is our final thing. So this is going to give us a tuple. Now a common question that might arise in your mind is that what happens if there are two stars? What happens if there are two stars? We know that partition function divides the string only in two parts. That I have said it to you. But what happens if there are two parts? Divya, can you just guess, make a guess here? What happens if there are two stars? Like we have SOU star TH. Yes, go on.
P star O I N T.
Okay.
Hmm.
How many parts will be there?
So
There are two stars, and our
yes, sir.
splitting criteria is stars only. Okay.
Okay.
So
So first it will focus
mhm,
on that asterisk south में जो है.
mhm.
Then after that it will focus on that point.
It is going to partition the string on the basis of the first occurrence of the partition criteria. First occurrence only. It is going to ignore the rest of the occurrences. So
Okay.
this is our first occurrence. Fine. If this is our first occurrence, this will be our part one,
Asterisk
and
will be part 2.
this will be part two. Very good. And this will be
Whole part 3.
very good. So, and this part one, part two, and part three will come in the form of which data structure? Which data
Tuple.
type?
Tuple.
Tuple. So what we have is SOU, comma, then we are
Asterisk.
asterisk, then we are going to have T.
TH space point.
Very good. We have
TH will
T
point that.
point. Very good. So in the form of a tuple. So similarly, you can guess about this space. Just give it a try, Divya. We have this
Yes, yes.
SOU star TH, then we have a space, then we have POINT, then we have another space SOUL. Okay, so give it a try.
It will focus only on one
First space. So
asterisk.
this,
Yes.
no, what is our splitting criteria now?
Yes, spaces. So first it
Space.
will okay.
Okay,
Then
space.
then the first element will be south
P1,
part 1.
then
Space will be part 2.
part 2,
And the whole rest point schools will be a part 3.
part 3. So what we have in the
Tuple.
tuple, we are
Uh,
going to have south, comma, then we are
space.
going to have a space, then we are going to have point school.
Point school.
Fine. So let us run this code once. Okay, I'm going to keep the previous output so that we can compare the difference between split and partition function. Okay, we are going to see the output and then we are going to discuss what is the difference between them. Okay, so what I'm expecting this year is that they are going to ask the difference. Okay, I've seen in some schools and I have seen in some paper that they ask the difference between two functions, and whenever we answer the differences between the two functions, we have to answer it according some points. Okay, I have seen students, I have checked copies, they don't answer it properly and that is why they are not getting full marks for that. So anyways, we can just run this program once and see. This is our thing. Okay, so we can see here, as we have studied this sow star th point, then sow star th space point, and then we have this one. Okay, now let us try to tabularize the differences between them. Okay,
Okay.
so I'm going to write here split in one column, and I'm going to write here partition in another. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to review the basic points or the main points, and after the class is over, you will surely get the recording of this class. You can go over the class again and write the important points from the book or internet after consulting this class. Okay, the first basic point in split is that it divides the string into multiple parts. We can see here multiple parts. Like it can be 4, it can be 5, it can be 6. It can divide the strings into multiple parts. Partition function divide the string into 2 plus 1 part. Why I have written 2 plus 1? Because 1 is your partition criteria that is given in the argument, and 2 parts. This 2 parts, one that occurs before one that occurs before the partition criteria, one string that occurs after the partition criteria. So that is why I have written here 2 plus 1. Okay. Then, uh, Divya, just take a guess. What will be the second difference?
Sir, it includes symbols. Split includes symbol, but partition doesn't include that.
Okay.
Mm.
You have opposite, like,
Sorry, split doesn't
okay.
include.
So I'm just writing here doesn't include, and you can refer it later. Okay. And uh, it includes. What will be the third difference, Divya?
Sir, it takes mm, all all partition kind, matlab all symbols into
Just
consideration.
concentrate here once.
Yes, yes, tuple and list.
Okay. Split gives us
Split gives to list,
list and
and partition gives tuple.
tuple. Okay. This tuple and list and tuple creates a wide difference. Okay. List is mutable in nature, as you may know, and tuple
Tuple is
is
immutable.
immutable. So as because this difference in mutability and immutability, it might create some problems, and it might like in different scenarios we might have to use split and partition functions accordingly. Okay. So that was our this thing. Okay, quick question. What will be the output of line number 8, Divya? Just 1 second. What will be the output of line number 8?
Sir, it will first convert Aladdin into uppercase.
I don't want to listen to this step. Just tell me what will be the final output.
Okay. Sir, capital A,
Okay, go on.
capital L, capital A, capital A, capital D, capital I, capital N,
Mhm.
and then 3.
Okay. Uh, Actually, you're wrong. Okay. Let us discuss why we are wrong. Let's see. What does this count function do? What does this count function do?
Count count the
Count
number of occurrence.
count the number of occurrence of a particular substring in a string. Fine. And this particular phenomenon is known as operator chaining. Okay. Why this is called operator chaining is that because we are putting one operator after another. The result of this operation is going to be fed into this function, and then we are going to have our final result. We are going to have a single final result. Okay.
So
So
there will be
this,
no 0 because
okay,
it will convert into uppercase.
ये
That is
हम
why.
हैं,
very good.
ये हमारी कार है, ये हमारी पावी हुई है.
Tushar, I have to remove you from the class. Okay. So whatever I was speaking was that the first this Aladdin string will be converted into capital letter. Then it is going to calculate the number of small a's that are present. So once we convert them into capital letter, what we are going to have, we are going to have A, then L, then A, then A, then DIN, and this in this string we are going to calculate or count the number of a's. So obviously there are no small letter a present in this particular string. So this is going to give us 0.
0.
Again, this was a trick question. Okay. This was for 1 mark. So most of the students who are unmindful while writing the paper, they are just going to see this count and they are going to see 3a present here. So what they are going to write, they are just going to write 3 and like leave the examination hall, come home and see and think that I have done brilliantly in the examination. But when they get the marks, they are going to get very low marks just
Yes.
because of these little mistakes. See, I have told you from the beginning of the class that what are the points where CBSE wants you to do mistakes. And as a teacher, this is how we actually set the paper. We force the students to make mistakes. We know why, what are the points in which the students are going to make mistakes. Similarly, we can look in line number 9, we can look at line number 10 and look at line number 11. Everybody knows that is lower function checks a particular string if it is lowercase or uppercase. Fine. Everybody knows that, not a problem. Now a student will see this question and get confused. Like what happens now? Because this string is not completely made up of alphabets. There are some small letters. There are some special characters. There is a digit also. This is why students get confused. Few of the students will write true. Few of the students will give false. And few of the students will write that this particular code is going to give us an error. Why this particular code is going to give us an error is that because of this lower function. But wrong reason, wrong explanation. Let us see. When I'm talking about lowercase, when I'm talking about lowercase, or I am talking about uppercase, only alphabets can be uppercase or lowercase. Digits cannot be upper or lowercase. Then your special characters cannot be in upper or lowercase. Only alphabets can be upper or lowercase. Okay. So let us imagine a universe of characters. This is a universe of characters. All the Latin characters that are available to us is present in this particular universe. Fine. In this universe, we have a little portion reserved for alphabets. This is the portion reserved for alphabet. Then we have another portion reserved for digits. Like what are the digits? Like 0 to 9, 0 to 9, because all the other digits are just combination from 0 to 9. And this rest of the space are special characters.
Yes.
Okay, so what we have? Just give me a sec, okay? I'm just reporting this fellow. And once I'm telling you everybody that who are present in this class, this is a free class and I'm doing this for your benefit. Okay. So if you think that abusing me or disturbing the class is good thing, then you're just doing self-harm to yourself. And I have reported this fellow, I have reported 2 fellows still now, and they are not going to be able to join any Zoom classes, not just for me, any Zoom classes using that email ID. Okay. So just be aware, if you want to study, I'm here to make you study. But if you have to abuse someone or me, just you can just leave the class. I will remove you off. So anyways, I should not lose my focus. So we have alphabets, we have digits, and we have special characters. Now, there are 2 parts of alphabets. One is uppercase and one is lowercase. Fine. So these are the whole universe. We have all the characters, we have alphabets, we have uppercase, lowercase, digits, and whatever. So now Depending upon this set diagram, let us see how this lower function by is lower function works. We have this string a t at the rate 1. This is our string. We are going to check one by one. Okay, let's start checking. So Divya, this is small letter or capital letter? Is it lower?
Yes,
A.
sir.
So I'm going
Lower.
to give a tick mark here.
Okay.
Fine. Is T lowercase or uppercase?
Lower.
I am going to give a tick mark here. Is at the rate lowercase or uppercase?
Sir, nothing but at the rate
It is not applicable.
not applicable. Okay.
Tick, fine, because only alphabets can be upper or lowercase. And what is this one? It
Digits
is
not applicable.
not applicable. Fine. So we can see that all our ticks, all are right. Okay, there is no wrong here. Like there is no case where it is not a lowercase. So I can conclude that this whole string is a lowercase, and this is going to give us true. Clear how you can handle this tricky situation?
Yes, sir.
Understood. Let us see here. Okay, with this one, at the rate and 1. At the rate, like tick, not applicable or cross, which one?
Not applicable.
Not applicable. And 1.
Not applicable.
Okay, is there any tick?
No. So that is why it is false.
False. Very good. And what is our this final result? This one. Is alum. Is alum checks whether a particular character is alphabet or numerical. Like it can be either of them. So what we have? We have A, we have T at the rate 1. So this is what? A.
Yes.
A is your alphabet.
Yes.
I can give a tick here.
Hmm.
T is your
Alphabetic.
alphabet tick at the rate.
Not applicable.
No. Alphabet, this at the rate is in special character. It is neither a digit nor an
No.
alphabet. So I can give a cross here.
Okay.
Tick. Understood though?
Yes.
And then 1. 1 is a digit, so I can give a tick here. So I can find one wrong here. Okay. And even if there is one single wrong, I can say that this is not an alphanumeric character. So is alnum is going to give us false. This is going to give us false. And I guess this is going to give us false. And this is going to give us
True.
true. Anyways, I can verify it once I run this code. Okay. First one is 0. Second one is true and false and false. Understood? Clear? Okay. So this was our whole thing. I hope I was clear. Rudra, you're following with me?
Yes.
Okay. Chalo. Another important question where students